This podcast is sponsored by Relevant. It's a new iOS app to consolidate the media you want to see in a place you control. With Relevant, you stay up to date with things you're actually interested in. You tell Relevant what's relevant to you, and you'll be given all the content you love from all across the internet, all in one place. It's available on iOS devices and coming soon to Android. Be the first to know with Relevant.
And we're back here at the Poorly Edited Podcast. I am your guest, Storm Hutchinson, with the actual hosts.
My name is Coffee Guy. How we doing?
I'm Chandler Davis.
My name's Patrick Lilly.
And the actual guest.
Hi, guys. I'm Marcos DeLeon.
And we have Josh Brennan on the camera again today.
As always, forever. You can't leave.
So we have a lot of guests here. Storm, what are you doing here, and who let you in to the studio today?
The door was unlocked.
Oh.
And
We should really lock that.
I wasn't kicked out, so now I'm on the computer in the studio.
He sat down and started
boy.
playing a Flash game called Realm of the Mad God.
Playing
Still
video
is.
games. Not much has changed since the last time he was with us.
Very professional. So,
So how was everyone's week? Jeez.
It's felt like,
packed.
it's felt like more than a week.
It felt like 3 weeks in 1 week, actually.
I know, it's hard to think we were here a week ago.
Yeah. Did you guys know we do the show every week?
I know.
Tune in next time.
And that's it for us. Thanks a lot.
No, yeah, we hung out. I think
Yeah, we saw a movie last week. Can you believe that?
all of us together for once, because
Thanks for
usually
inviting me.
you're
Oh,
never
you're welcome, man. No problem.
you're never around.
I'm totally joking.
You're always here playing Realm of the Mad God. You can't get any of
You
it.
never leave.
I'm going pro, man. Top 5 right now.
You're not going pro with a Ranger.
Storm Hutch.
Yeah, so we went to the movies. We probably did other stuff I forgot about already, but
To DC.
you went
Oh, you
to
did?
Washington
Wow.
D.C. We went to the business pitch summit at El Tracy that happened on Friday night.
Super last minute.
Super
Stayed
last
up real
minute.
late getting that ready.
We'll talk about that. And yeah, so I mean, is there anything I missed?
I don't think so.
Nice. Pat, how was DC? I actually didn't get to talk to you
It
about
was
it.
pretty sweet. I went and saw the Cherry Blossoms because my friend wanted to go.
I love that band, Cherry Bombs.
I
Yeah, it's a good band.
saw those when they weren't in bloom. That was pretty cool.
How was that?
Because I was there in February.
You just look like trees.
Yeah, they do. It was pretty cool.
Just
It's a
normal
good, it's a
trees.
good thing Storm's here.
Yeah, it's crazy. When it was a
Gotta keep
windy
you grounded.
it was a windy day, and there was like clouds of pollen just hitting me.
Oh my God.
That sounds
This
great.
is
Oh, is that why
terrible.
you're sick now?
I think it might be. I might not be sick. This might be allergies from 2 days ago.
Residual allergies.
We also
I'm so sorry.
went to the World War II Memorial and found Kilroy. That was pretty cool.
What's that?
It's I think it was a submarine inspector in World War II would go around and like rate or inspect submarines, and when he was like done, he'd write Kilroy was here and draw a little dude. So they did that at the World War II Memorial.
That's funny.
That's cool.
People have not
Little
changed.
Easter egg.
Shout out to Kilroy. There's
he's a
also
troll.
there's a movie in theaters right now about a World War I dog named Stubby, Sergeant Stubby, who is a real dog who was smuggled into the battlefields of World War I by American troops and fought on the front lines with the soldiers and
What?
kept real thing. I implore you to Google it and read on the Wikipedia page.
I do it myself, but Storm's playing video games. So.
He was injured like 3 different times and
Oh my God.
kept sending him back to the front lines. And at one
Was
point,
he actually doing
this is a
battle?
real thing. And,
They put a bayonet on his head?
and it is an animated movie.
His name was Stubby.
Sergeant Stubby, yes.
Hey, yo, shout out to Sergeant Stubby.
He's the only.
Wherever you
He's the only canine that fought in the war that was, I think, promoted as high as he was through battle.
Do you think? Wait, so you think people got discharged from World War II as privates,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they got outranked by a dog?
Yeah. Some people got outranked by a dog. He's very decorated. They made him a coat, and they put all of his war medals and ribbons on it that he earned through his service as well, which you can see him pictured with if you look him up. But yeah, he kept up morale. At one point, he even detained a German officer by grabbing him and holding him there until American troops arrived. Josh actually
Josh isn't doing his job right now.
He could not hold the camera anymore. He was crying, one-handing the camera. But yeah, it's a real thing. Look it up.
I'm looking at his coat right now.
I promise you it is real. But yeah, so
Wait. He got half a page obituary in the New York Times,
I didn't know that one.
which was much longer than the obituaries of many notable people, according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Many notable people.
How many people do you think are really salty because Stubby got like way better, like everything than them?
Probably a lot of people.
I mean, people love dogs, though.
That's true.
Let's be honest. Like,
Even back then.
yeah.
Wow.
Oh, so anyway, yeah. So we had that
my
business
God.
pitch some Friday night. I was talking to Tremaine Tatum. I that's his name, right?
I don't know his last name. I know his first name.
You nailed the first name part.
Yeah, name. I don't.
No relation to Channing Tatum.
Yeah, it's
damn.
true. Yeah,
What a shame.
and so we were talking the night before the summit on Thursday. I was with Lamont from Valley House Media, and he told me to come with him to talk and have a meeting. And so we were talking a little bit, talking about some stuff. And then Tremaine just looked at me and he's like, "Why don't you just present what you're saying at the business pitch tomorrow night?" And I was like,
less than 24 hours away.
I don't know. Some of these people have been working on this for like several weeks straight.
And Chandler thought, I've had a lot of sleep lately. Let's change that. I'll drag everybody else into it too.
Yeah, so the three of us worked pretty tirelessly all through the night. I got like 2 hours of sleep, had to work in the morning, and then went straight from work to the summit.
Me
I had to
too.
make sure you got that sleep too.
Yeah.
It was like 3 a.m. and I'm like, you should go to bed. You work at 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And you took one for the team. So you had to work too, and you stayed up a little
I
later to
worked at
finish
like
stuff
11
up.
though.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I had some more time.
And even on my break at work, during my lunch break, because I work at Walmart, so I walked over to the electronics department and I got on one of their like showroom laptops.
Really?
And I started working on the
That's what that
presentation for
was.
one of those. Yes.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
dude. I didn't know that.
It's a real thing I did. Instead of eating, of course, because why would I do that?
No.
But yeah, we won 3rd place, which is pretty lit. There were some really great, strong contenders there.
Yeah.
Everyone did an amazing job. A lot of great
It's really tough to
businesses
do.
and
I'm
ideas.
proud of you, buddy.
What?
That, you did as well as you did.
Yeah, you guys made me present by myself,
Yeah.
which was cool.
I get used to that.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So yeah, but it was just really awesome. It was a really great experience. Met a lot of really cool. All the judges were really cool. Talked to them at length after the show and all that. And it was just a really great night. And then we had dinner with Valley House Media, who filmed the whole event.
Had a real good time.
Had a really good time, and yeah, it was a really great experience.
We stayed at that Chinese restaurant and so close to closing until they started aggressively cleaning to get us to leave, like
and, like,
spraying
making eye
really
contact.
audibly and like scrubbing the floors, just looking at us. And so it was time to go. I think
We were there for 4 hours.
we were there for a couple hours.
Yeah. It was not good, just talking, but that's how it goes. So yeah, what did you do over the weekend? Or over the week? How was your week, man?
The week. So it is coming close to finals for me. I go to NAC, and I am getting my portfolio together for a little job fair that my school holds next week, and I am nowhere near done. So it's a lot of scrambling to get this portfolio ready, and it was a lot of working. I work at Target, so early mornings. Very enjoyable there,
What department do you work in?
I actually work on the presentation team. So I work usually around 4 a.m. until noon or so. And I'm basically just all over the store, and I just upkeep the presentation of certain areas. There are certain things that I need to reset, this, that, and the other. But, no one wants to hear about my life at Target.
No, I don't.
Storm,
Storm is the word of the
Storm, what'd you
viewer.
do? What are you up to that's so much more exciting, huh?
I got a new job.
Oh, no.
Another new job?
Stop getting new jobs. Stick with one job.
This one's like full time.
Is this the one you made for yourself?
Yeah.
Elaborate, please.
Don't leave us hanging.
From my understanding, Storm convinced the company that they needed this position, and then went and interviewed for the position.
What?
Is that what happened?
Yeah. Wait.
What? How? Explain.
So
Good.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about this. It's like a real job with like real boundaries and real expectations. And I
Don't know what that is.
Can you mention like what the company is or just what you would be doing?
Yeah, I'd be an executive assistant. So I'd be for 3 months. Oh, I'm about to die.
Oh my god.
He just
just
lost
died
his
in-
Realm of the Mad God.
Realm of the Mad God is a video game where you when your character dies, it dies forever. So he just lost all of his gear.
So pretty much.
Just hold it.
Hello, Luce.
Someone just disconnected his mic from the whole.
That wasn't me.
You were the one holding it, so.
Okay, so what I do is for the first 3 months, they're not like testing me out, but I'm on like the O end of executive assistance. So I help with employing. So I go out and find people that want to have jobs and make sure that they get the jobs at our place. And it's at Bob Weaver's Auto. And after 3 months, they're going to reevaluate and potentially bump me up to like an HR position.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
Good for you, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds like an eventful weekend or whatever you were doing lately.
Came up with a, what's it called?
Is this your rapper name?
I came up with a rapper name, even though I'm not a rapper.
Oh boy.
That'll come in handy.
What is
Yeah,
it?
I'm thinking about doing the
Wait,
thing
can you
you guys
tell us,
want,
or-
except I'm just not good enough. So it's called it's Black Sheep. Like,
That's pretty good.
That couldn't be taken.
yeah, it's.
Yeah, no,
way.
that's definitely taken. Probably by more
And
than
then
one
the first
person.
album name is Black Sheep Down.
No. Don't you dare.
Really proud of it. I thought about it.
You shouldn't be.
Welcome to the show, man.
This is a great.
Yeah, now in this segment, Storm fixes his mic.
And this, for all the audio listeners, Storm's fixing his mic because the bolt came out of the shock mount,
Yes.
and then
Yeah,
it
well,
came
that's
off
what
with
happens
the
when
scissor
Storm's
stand.
here and he just has to like handle the microphone at all times.
Get a key. It's a very hands-on kind of show here. So we.
All right, I've done my talking for the show.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's fine.
Get to leave
Whatever,
now.
buddy. Good luck.
See you in another 4 months. You're back on the show again.
Anytime and every time.
Where have you been? Is that what you were doing this whole time?
What?
Playing Realm of the Mad God for 4 months?
Where have I been?
Yeah.
You have to talk into the mic, Storm.
This is the first time he's done this.
Like in reality, where have I been?
No, in fake.
I've been doing school,
Whoa!
and I just got paid for my first video editing job. That was
No
pretty
way.
crazy. Yeah,
Good for you.
like real money.
What kind
in
was
the
it?
PayPal, not the bank, in the PayPal.
Same thing.
It was for a 3D printing studio,
Oh, that's nice.
but it's like it's like a photo booth, but 3D.
It's like a 3D printer.
like a
Yes,
photo booth.
but it's a photo booth. So you go in
You,
and,
like,
then,
walk inside it?
and they do this like flash scanny thingy, and then you walk out, you pay the money, and then 2 weeks later you get like a figurine of yourself.
That's weird.
That's
pretty crazy.
terrifying.
That's weird.
Yeah.
They're definitely gonna store those. And
Can they
use
make a
that in
life?
robots.
Can they make a life-size one?
I mean, if you want to pay like $2,000, you can.
And then they'll make it a robot.
Do they breathe?
Ew.
No.
Oh.
Where was I supposed to go with that joke?
I don't know. Jeez.
Look at the script. Look at the script. It's written on the script.
It's like a curveball, but like out of the zone, so I can't even hit it if I want to.
That was a sports joke for everyone
We
listening.
haven't had one of those in a
Oh,
long
but you guys
time.
want to hear about sports? So
Not at
the
all.
baseball season just started.
No,
did.
You have 1 minute. I'm cutting you off. Then
Just
we're going
like
to a
old
break,
times.
so go for
Baseball
it.
started.
Oh.
NHL's in the playoffs. NBA playoffs just started. Good stuff going on, ladies and gentlemen. TNT, ESPN.
Is NHL the cold one?
Man, another like fastball out of the zone.
I can't.
I thought it was hockey,
I
not
like
baseball.
and I can't.
So we have like 45 seconds.
Oh, okay. All right. So LeBron James lost the game in the playoffs. We don't like LeBron James.
Why are you speaking for us? Do you like LeBron James?
I am in particular about LeBron James. I am a to the core Derrick Rose fan. I've been with him through thick and thin, through paper knees and glass bones.
Okay.
But
That's what I have. That's my condition as well.
I mean, I kind of respect that.
All right, we have 5
Just really
seconds left in
random.
the sports minute.
Sportsman with Storm and the last one.
Hey, four months from now, we're getting another one. Oh, yes. Let's go. Yeah.
Why are you humoring him this much?
Yeah.
This is my favorite song. And we're back.
Did you just cut the? All right.
Is that even allowed?
That was a really great commercial break.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Chandler doesn't appreciate the Spanish commercials I put on every
They
time.
don't know what they're selling. What's it about? I don't know. I know Biblioteca and Ola and
All right.
Queso.
All right. Everybody take it
let's
easy.
calm down.
I failed Spanish. All right. In high school. It's not real Spanish. Let's be honest. Can't speak Spanish after high school Spanish
Oh my
course.
God. I can't do this.
I've had enough. All right. So Marcus,
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm doing well.
How much Spanish do you know, Marcus?
I'm actually fluent. I am Dominican.
really?
God.
Yeah,
Then I'm very sorry for
I
everything that
apologize.
just
What was that
happened.
commercial about?
I don't know. I just heard them say nosotros like 8 times, and
does
I
that
was
mean?
like, us.
So there's a very communal kind of
Yeah.
togetherness. I got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Marcus, you like photography? Is that true?
Some would say, yes.
Is that what maybe most would know you from?
For the most part, yes. Depending on who finds me, because I market myself through 2 avenues, the photography and video side, and then more of my art and illustrations and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
I
That's
didn't
really
know
cool.
that side of you. I was just told you were a photographer.
Other side.
Wow.
Yes.
We're learning together, folks.
My world just changed.
So I noticed on I was really drawn to your pictures. There's just something about them. Just had a lot of, you have a really wide portfolio. Like you just
you.
are on the grind all the time, it seems, doing
Yes.
photography. And I really like your stuff, really professional looking stuff. And you do a lot of portrait work with a lot of different subjects and models. Like
Yes.
there's so many different people that you were getting on, of so many just different walks of life, it seemed like. What exactly is that what you're most into, doing portraiture, working with people and that kind of thing?
Is that what excites you about photography?
Yes, definitely, because people are all different, and you can get a different expression from everyone else. And I think what's great about it is capturing just a glimpse of emotion and just capturing just that brief second and being able to portray that for everyone to see and to be able to feel the same thing that I felt when I took the picture.
Do you give them some sort of instruction or like motivation so you can find that glimpse, or do you just sort of let them do their thing? Like, what is your approach to doing a portrait?
So it all depends on the shoot. If it's a live event, then I have no control of telling them what to do, and I'm just looking out for those moments. When I am doing a personal portrait session with someone, I usually use certain keywords to bring out certain emotions.
What are the keywords?
What's the formula?
Do you just like read poetry? I'm gonna read you Fire and Ice.
Are they like all sleeper cell agents? Like, what's up? What's going on with that?
What a
I think it's time for me to go. I've said too much.
Would you like to say any other few words before you leave?
What do the numbers mean?
Like some keywords maybe before you leave?
So some of the keywords that I use are, I would tell someone to feel So to get a relaxed look on someone's face, and get a pouty lip that I like to, convey in my pictures, and it looks good on my subjects. It looks natural. To be able to get that, I tell them to breathe in through their nose and exhale through their mouth, very relaxed, to give them. Yeah, to give them that pout. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
For all the audio listeners.
Ooh,
Did you just try it at home?
This is too much for me.
Everyone try
How
it
did
at
we
home.
do this all the time?
That's really smart. I like that.
Yeah, that's one of the
That's
techniques
actually-
that I learned, and I tell people to act happy or think of something angry, think of something sad, and usually those emotions, you could see it in their eyes and like the bridge of their eyebrows and everything like that. So the emotion is all right in the center of the face.
It's crazy. Like, I'm looking at your picture, your Instagram right now, and I can see everything you're saying. Like in most of your shoots, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really big thing for whenever you're even me being a film major doing video related things. I've found that like directing people, and these people don't understand how these things work as much. They're just subjects, they're just models, etc. And so to get them to have the right kind of, whether it be a facial expression or an actor trying to get the right performance, like figuring out the kind of way to convey that to them is like such a challenging thing to get down and figure out, how you're going to get from point A to point B like that.
Yes. One of the things that I usually do, I usually shoot with a lot of female models, and I usually mock the poses that I want them to do. I usually do it in a more exaggerated fashion, so that that way, most of the time they're shy and hold back. So I do it a lot more exaggerated, so that way I know they do it the way I see it in my head. So that's another technique that I use.
Because they're going to hold back a little bit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because I work with a lot of amateurs, a lot of people that haven't really been in front of the camera, a lot of friends, acquaintances.
So you've clearly picked some things up. Like you have some good tricks. How long have you been doing this?
Wow. It has been...
And there's your answer pretty much.
I want to say...
4 days.
Wow, that's
Just
pretty
about,
good.
yeah.
That's impressive.
I want to say 2013, 2014,
Okay.
right around there. So, 4 or 5 years been at it. It all actually started with me wanting to be a YouTuber. That's how my photography journey actually started. I was watching all these vloggers like Louis Cole, Charles Trippy from We the Kings, Ben Brown, he's a YouTuber from England. I used to watch all these guys, and some of these guys were photographers, and they would talk about going on Instagram missions, and I was like, what? You're going out on a mission just to take a picture for Instagram? That's pretty cool. So that kind of just like made me want to go out and take adventures and, capture moments. And I tried landscape photography, and what really drew me in was people because of their expressions. So, yeah.
That's actually pretty cool.
Thank you.
I'd say there's a lot of people who were brought into the fold in terms of like media and entertainment and photography, cinematography because of YouTube. I think there's a lot of people.
No doubt.
And it's kind of a gateway, because you think like, oh, I want to be a vlogger, but then you realize there's other things that you end up getting more interest in, like you did with photography. That's not as much related to that, But I do think there's tons of people out there who started doing what they did in some capacity because of YouTube.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I also do video, amongst other things, motion graphics, graphic design, illustrations, all of that. And all that comes back to YouTube. my foundation was pretty much on YouTube. I was making the cheesy videos, like all the tags and like trying to be quote unquote relatable and trying to go viral, but you know, it just didn't work out for me, which I'm kind of glad because, you know, those were some embarrassing videos.
And you'd still be living that life.
Yeah.
Well, we are. So
We're just getting into that.
yeah.
So.
Well.
Have fun.
No. But yeah, so I think, like I said, I think you really found a cool niche to fill, you know, as a photographer. You know, portraiture I find to be almost not like a noble cause, but just something that I think people overlook a lot is like to take interest in just people. Like I feel like it's so humanizing and organic and like real, you know, just be like,
You can get some really interesting stuff. I've only just dipped my feet into it, but it's cool.
Yeah, definitely. Because when you're doing a portrait session, you're getting to know the person you're taking a picture of. You're not just standing there in silence. You try to get to know the person in the brief time that you have with them, and you try to get as much information out of them so that way you know how to direct them, how they're feeling, what you can do with them, and whatnot.
Yeah. And I think one thing that since I've been doing what I'm doing, you know, creatively and with this show and the people we've been working with is what like the most satisfying thing that makes you want to keep going is when the people that you work with, like your subjects with, they see the picture in its final form and they go like, oh, wow, like that's so awesome. You know, and they have a big smile on their face and they're super excited about it, and just bringing them, you know, that excitement and that level of joy, you know.
That's what you're doing it for at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. Because, you know, they're the ones paying you sometimes, but, you know, you also want to make them happy just because they could have went to anybody else and they went to you. So,
that's important.
Yeah, very much so.
Feeling. That's a great feeling.
Yeah. Storm into the mic.
You know what else is a great feeling? Talking into the mic.
Welcome home.
Glad to have you here, Storm.
Storm's first day on the show. So what's your camera of choice doing all this?
So I have been working with the same camera for the last few years. I've been using a Canon T5i, Rebel T5i. So
that's
Team Canon over here.
This one's a T4i above us.
It's a T4. Josh using, what do you use, Josh?
T6.
T6i.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you fit right in, literally.
Yeah. All right.
You're hired.
I'm the middleman.
I'm a T5.
There you go.
Oh,
I just wanted to be included.
Brothers.
I don't have the eye. I know.
No, his screen doesn't flip out like mine.
Is that what the I stands for?
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
screen
basically.
flipping out?
Pretty much, yeah.
That makes sense.
I equals screen flipping out. Yeah.
It's abbreviated.
Algebra.
You have to solve the equation before you can do it.
It's actually an imaginary number.
Yeah, it is. That's what it means.
Good. So we got check off the algebra joke for the show.
Finally met our quota.
I was waiting for
29
that.
weeks.
Edition joke.
What?
The Canon editions joke.
No, we're just hitting all the markers today.
Sergeant Stubby. Got
Yeah.
'em all.
Gotta hit that every week.
Wait a second. Sergeant Stubby isn't even that big.
What?
That's a small dog.
He's a small dog.
Man.
Yeah.
Props to Sergeant Stubby.
Honestly, dude. He did a lot. What would you how has your time been as a freelance, as someone who's just out there kind of, I assume you work just by yourself, you're just like a one-man thing?
Having to deal with the saturation of the market.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of photographers out there because, you know, someone's cousin gets a camera with an interchangeable lens and boom, they're a photographer. Or I have an iPhone X. I'm a photographer.
That's too real, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I've lost jobs to those people because you know, I give them my price and, you know, you have to know your worth. That's the first thing in this creative market. You have to know your worth. You can't undersell yourself. You know, there are going to be some times where you cut the cost and, you know, whatever. But the way I've been dealing with it is just growing organic relationships and, just word of mouth, social media, just, commenting under certain people's pictures, using hashtags and following certain people that I like to work with and, sometimes messaging them, taking that step forward and really trying to just create relationships because I find that the natural relationships are the most fun and easiest to work with.
I think something you brought up a little earlier about the everybody with an iPhone X.
Yes.
So I found like two sides to this. One is like, these people are killing the industry or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other side is, well, everybody's a photographer. I think it's a real issue. The card's full on that one, gentlemen.
Yeah,
We know. We were
known.
trying to convey that silently this whole time.
It's not an issue. Like, we've got this under control.
I can see anyone can be a videographer.
That's a dig. No, Josh is leaving.
But
Josh's
I
fault.
really
It's
agree
not
that
Zach's fault.
it's not good. You're not just a photographer if you have a nice camera
I'm
or a
gonna
nice.
be devil's advocate, but what if what stops me from being a photographer or capturing certain aspects of life?
Well, what plays into it is the difference between someone taking a photo and a photographer is their eye and just how they see composition and how they see the end result. Whereas someone who's just taking a photo is just snapping away and just, oh, this looks nice. Or, oh, this looks bad. Let me just take 40 more. Mm-hmm. When you're a photographer, you're looking to get that shot right away at one point.
Another interesting thing too is Instagram's all about likes, and it's such a selfish social media. It's about bringing. I've heard it's a lot like a drug. Actually, your endorphins spike when you get likes, and a lot of pictures on Instagram you'll see are just like poor representations of making myself feel good. So if you get a good picture and you get a bunch of likes, you're like, wow, I am a real photographer now. And I think the big difference between a photographer and just a random person is, why are you taking those photos? Are you doing it because you want a beautiful photo of your friends with you, or just a really good picture? Or are you taking a good picture to put it on Instagram and make yourself feel good about yourself? This is a real thing, and I'm just being real, People come at me and say, well, you don't really know what you're talking about. Maybe I don't. You're right, maybe I don't. But I feel that these things are real and need to be talked about, even if it hurts people's feelings.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it does hurt the market as well because it really hurts the business because people try to make a living off of this, and if their work is being taken away by someone who just takes pictures. We're using the iPhone, for example, but yeah, if someone's just taking pictures with their iPhone and they're stealing these photographers' clients just because, oh, they're my friend, they're doing me a favor, they have a good camera, quote unquote, good camera, and, they'll hook me up. No, I just think.
Now I'm imagining some dude walking into a wedding as a wedding photographer and just pulling out his phone.
I have heard stories of people trying to photograph weddings with iPhones.
Wait. Wait, are you serious?
Yes.
Because, can I tell a quick story?
Go for it.
Okay. I hate to bring this up because everybody's like, you brought this up millions of times. So I used to work at weddings.
Yes.
And so I would see these rich people weddings. And the rich people would bring on these real deal photography guys, and they'd have 5 photographers roaming around, and it's a big industry, thousands of dollars, and people would actually go with iPhone cameras.
Yes, because they don't want to pay the actual photographer. Because there are some people that go into weddings and wedding planning, and they don't expect for a photographer or for a DJ to be as much as they are. But but the quality of work you're paying for is well worth it, because sometimes that price tag is sometimes crazy, and not knowing what you're gonna get from that person is kind of sketchy. But there's that level of trust that needs to be there.
I think that it's something that we've been talking about lately about the weddings and photographing weddings and stuff like that. You usually only get married like one time. It's not like you have like a bunch of redos for that. You're like, oh, we'll pick it up in reshoots tomorrow. It's like you're getting married one time, so you should probably make sure that if you want it captured like that, make sure it's the best money can buy. You can afford to do, because it's not like you're gonna get that again to have another opportunity. Like
the kid with the iPhone's like, oh, I forgot my charger at home. Give me like.
Does anyone have an iPhone charger in the crowd?
I only got 16 gigabytes, guys. Let's make it worth it.
Let's move the procession closer to the wall outlet.
I think, though, to play a devil's advocate a little bit, I think that it is good that I think it's nice that it is so easy now more than ever for people to get into all these different facets of art. I don't see anything wrong with people like art and that being more accessible. The cameras are becoming cheaper and better, and obtaining better qualities are easier than ever. A couple years ago, you had to be rich to just have a camera and have the capabilities to have a camera. It was something that only the rich did for fun, and you couldn't afford, the normal common man couldn't afford to even break out into something like that. So I think it's as technology has progressed and as these markets have progressed, I think it's good that it's so easy to get into it. But I feel that the photographers who are good at their craft and know their craft and are passionate about it are always going to, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, come out on top over the iPhone photographers and those photographers that think that they're just as good, or that what they do is art, because the quality disparity is more than blindingly apparent at that point. I think that there is security there. Well, I don't think there's much to worry about at the end of the day.
Can I say something real fast?
Yeah,
I'm
go
sorry.
for it.
I actually disagree with you.
Go on.
Because I do agree with everything except that I don't know. I don't have the highest security that the real photographers are going to win out, because the normal person can't tell usually a good photo from a bad photo. Yeah. You actually have to have some training to understand perspectives and the rule of thirds and the golden circle or
golden ratio.
Even Storm doesn't understand.
Yeah, anyways, that's what happens when you pay $28,000 for 1 year of art school.
There it is, folks.
What a mistake, man.
We'll see, but that's the thing.
Well, just wait 1 second. I'm sorry.
I thought you were
Let him finish, then I have to go to a break and come back. I'm sorry.
And it's not getting better. People are willing to. They're like, oh, this guy just has just as much good content as I do, and he doesn't do as much. Like, he's not making me pay as much for what clearly is the same quality. So I don't know if it's gonna work out for like quality photographers, which isn't good, Because all right. So the best photographers on Instagram, right? The ones that people are like, wow, are we really thinking to ourselves that guy took that picture on a camera?
Well, I have been following the Instagram game heavily for the past few years, and there are a lot of photographers that I see that are iPhone only, and they are photographers, but they have been on Instagram so long that they've been shooting with their iPhone. They just use everything they know and use their iPhone as their tool. Whereas some other photographers, they use their cameras and do everything that a classically trained photographer would do and then upload it. So it all depends on the person, because, the tool, yeah, it matters only up to a certain point. What really matters is what you know.
All right, we have to go to a break.
We'll be right back.
Ruin everything. We'll be right back.
And
we're back.
And we're back. The lovely Joshua Brennan had to leave during the commercial break, so unfortunately he's gone. And now we just have this looming tripod over our heads with a camera. Robo Brennan on the scene. This one won't cry and tilt the camera towards the ground when he's laughing too hard at us.
Whoa.
Hey,
That's some shade.
That was mean.
he said that happened in front of me 30 minutes ago.
Why didn't you say it when he was in the room?
I did.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I thought of a retort over the break. Not as much of a retort, but just something to think about in terms of.
What's our discussion?
I was thinking the discussion about real photographers, fake photographers, iPhone photographers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That oversaturation of that market and people not knowing what it's worth. Can't the same kind of parallel be drawn to like the music industry nowadays? Like, do you think
100%.
like anybody can, because of once again technology, anybody can be a musician, but only up to a certain extent? It's like it matters a lot about what they know in terms of music and them as artists creatively.
I think everybody here is about to say that. I think music is a little bit different. Storm, you want to?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so
You don't think so?
No.
I have 2 words.
Okay.
Lil Pump
No. I'm not
knows
saying
nothing about music.
But I'm saying that it's the same problem.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you
So
are
it's
saying
like
the same problem.
okay. I find this fascinating. Actually, this
Yeah.
is such an interesting idea about how people just rise to the top who shouldn't. You know, it's
Right.
like these young dudes who can't rap, but they have this whole like mantra of, oh, I'm having a good time, drugs. And you're right. They shouldn't have the shots.
Yeah. The thing is virality.
Yep.
And how catchy these songs are. That's what gets them to the top. Because I've seen the change of hip hop and just that whole genre over the last few years. And when like the whole distorted, just like mumble rap came about, I was not about it. I was very into just lyricism, just straight up old school. But, you know, there are things that change, and, you know, some songs they're like, they're an earworm, and, you know,
Yeah.
it's just,
For sure.
you can't help but, you know, rock out to it, and you're like, wow, this is horrible, but I can't stop.
It's like junk food.
One of the problems.
Junk food music.
One of the problems with this, though, is I know I'm about to go on a little bit of a morality trip, but the one with the guy who did
Josh.
what was the song Molly
By Josh.
Percocet, and like
Yeah.
they got
That's
like
Future.
that was Future,
Yeah.
and where's the limit where we're like, yo, 12-year-olds are listening to this, and Molly and Percocet are
Well,
bad.
And like with Lil Wayne and Lean and stuff
Yeah.
like that. you know.
Drug culture has always been present in hip hop music. So
That's true. You're totally
yeah.
right.
yeah, so it's nothing new. It's just they're getting more blatant and just very blunt about
Yeah.
it.
It's also hitting mainstream way more.
Yes.
Rap's become really popular.
Yes. Hip hop I think, has surpassed rock and roll as the most popular genre in the last few years.
I did a
agree with
study
that.
on this, and that's proven. It is now the most listened to. I think it was country for a while. I bet you
Yeah.
didn't know that, but
What?
country was.
Yeah, it actually was.
country was.
That's
and
crazy.
It just got passed by rap. Are you into hip hop a lot?
Yes, I am.
So who's your top 3
Top 3
right now? Not overall.
So right now, shoot, let me pull up my Spotify because just let me see
Can't like
who's
them that
most
much.
recent.
You can't even remember them.
So I would say Cardi B for sure.
Oh.
I really like her new stuff. She's also Dominican, so I have to
Okay.
rep for the homeland.
All right. That's fair.
Denzel Curry is definitely someone that I listen to very often. He is from Miami, Florida, and he's very raw and not so much aggressive, but just I love his style and just, you know, the angst. And I would say Lil Peep, R.I.P.
Okay.
You know, I just really liked what he was doing with the whole crossover between rap and just like emo music, and it was just something so different and that I enjoyed. That really, you know, bridged two things that I never thought I would hear.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Can we stay on music? Is this on the schedule?
Sure.
So
I guess I can squeeze you in.
yeah, what's under there for a segment? Oh, there is stuff under there for a
Pat
segment.
has a D&D game to go to tonight, don't you, Pat? Throwback.
Pat left, so Friday night when we had, you thought I was gonna say, Pat, we were talking like just really in-depth conversation we were having with Valley House Media Friday night after the business summit, and you know it was super awesome, super productive, amazing, and then Pat's like, look guys, I gotta go. I gotta go to D&D tonight. And I was like, are you serious?
I respect that though,
It
man.
was Pathfinder, first of all.
Oh, 3.5 over here, nerd.
It's okay because Valley House is actually into it.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah.
but the one, I'm like, I have somewhere to be, and he's like, where you have to go, and I'm like, I gotta go play Pathfinder. He's like, dude, get me in that campaign.
He actually did say that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Matt Kraft from Valley House Media did say.
I mean,
he
Shout
was
out to
not
Matt
joking.
Kraft.
Oh no,
I'm a dungeon master. Like I made my own campaign. I have
awesome.
maps.
I
have
dropped out of my campaign.
Storio. Sorry. Anyways, can we get back to hip hop?
You think I'm joking? Sure.
Okay. So I love hip hop. It's something I'm really passionate about.
Yeah.
And I love rappers that have something to say besides
Gucci Gang.
Gucci Gang. So I think J. Cole, Forest Hills Drive was a life-changing album. Just
I mean, it was a great album. It went what, triple platinum?
double platinum.
Double platinum?
Features?
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Was
features.
that one? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that
and-
was the meme. That was the meme album.
And I've been getting into Logic a lot too recently.
I can't do Logic.
I don't like everybody
So
that much.
I wasn't a fan of everybody. I think Bobby Tarantino 2 is not very good.
Okay.
I hate that he just divorced his wife because he wants to be single. He's turning into
Wait,
this.
was that the reason why he
he's-
divorced her?
Well,
Is that true?
who knows if it's
I actually
true.
didn't even know he divorced his wife.
Yeah, that's what his wife said happened.
Wow.
Which I mean,
And so what happened with him is, you know, if you go back, he was like this really lyrical. I don't know if you like Logic at all.
I'm very indifferent about Logic.
I agree. I think I agree with what you're about to say.
So what happened is he came out with, it was Bobby Tarantino, then everybody, and he began to think he was like a Jesus Christ figure, where he thought, okay, people are listening to me now, I'm gonna change the world. So he came out with everybody, Black Spider-Man, everybody, 1-800, and then he starts to become this figure in his mind where he's like, everybody loves me, and he gets up on the stage at the Grammys and does 1-800. It was amazing until the end where he got really political and he turned to like Syrian refugees. And that's a great topic to talk about, but when you're talking about suicide, don't go political. You had a great stance and now you really messed it up. I was upset about that.
Yeah, I think he's really trying to spread himself too thin with all the like commentary that he is trying to like, and it's gotten so bogged down in that like his music, and it feels like his where he's coming from is so confused and all over the place anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I rocked with him so much from The Incredible Untold Story and Under Pressure. Like those two, Under Pressure especially is like I go to that album so many times, you know, as the voice of that's like the soundtrack in my head when I'm on my grind, so, you know, most of the time. And to come from that and then to go from like something like Everybody and the new stuff he's doing is just. You know, it was relatable then, but now it feels like he's just on a soapbox, man. You know.
Yeah.
What's you like the emo mixed with?
Yeah.
So I've been listening to XXX Tentacion recently.
Yes.
Hey, he's pretty. Do you like him too?
Well, so the way I like to put it is I like his music. It's all right, some of it, but him as a person and his past, it's like, you know, I have to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, break that down for me. I actually don't know it too much.
Okay, so so basically he was in an abusive relationship and basically like
well, he was the abuser.
yeah, he was
Yo,
the
he was
abuser.
the abuser.
Yeah, he was the abuser, and he did some really messed up stuff. I'll tell you off air what it was, but yeah, he did some horrible things, and just he went to prison for it, and it's certain things that you shouldn't support. And it comes back to the argument of do you separate the artist from their art?
No, you can't.
You can't?
Yeah.
Do you like the
That's-
Beatles?
I can't.
Do you like the Beatles?
I like the Beatles.
And
I
Do you
don't.
approve of what John Lennon did?
What?
Do you approve of John Lennon? No, he was like a terrible father.
I don't care.
You just said that.
No, I said I don't
you
separate.
don't? I thought
I
you
don't
said you did.
separate.
Okay.
No. I mean, I do separate. Is what I mean.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's so different for the Beatles and XXX. If you listen to 17, he like wants your compassion.
Yes.
He's like begging for it. He's like, come into my mind and experience me.
The intro was very just when he said, if you're not willing to have an open mind, don't listen to this.
Yeah.
And it was just very raw, and it was like, oh, why are you telling me what to do?
But now he's on some stuff where it's like this dude's, what is he, 19, and he's acting like he's some pariah.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you had like one successful album, you had one hit wonder, and like just calm down on the really introspective, like I'm amazing kind of talk, right away.
Yeah, I mean, I can write poetry too.
Yeah.
It's just no one.
I'd rather you not.
How about my thing
I
is,
wrote
like,
some poetry in class today.
No.
He's doing it,
I'm
folks.
shutting us down early.
Didn't we write you poetry for class? Like, didn't we write poetry for you one day? Wasn't that somebody here?
Oh yeah, I had poetry for class and I didn't do it.
Good job.
No, but this is interesting. I wanna hear what else
is.
you think about. So you say you can't separate.
I don't. It's not right to do, because at the end of the day, they still did it. Like R. Kelly, he did that to those girls, and it's like, it's hard to listen to those songs without thinking about, he's a horrible person. And like watching the Cosby Show, it's kind of like,
that's hard.
It's like, I used to like this show, but now it's like I see you in a different light. And there are a lot of artists that get accused of a lot of things, and most of the time they're true. And
That's the thing, man. It's most of the time it's true.
Yeah, it changes your perception of that artist, but it becomes a very sticky situation where it's like, I enjoy your work, but I don't want to commend you on what you've done in your personal life.
Every time you listen to their music too, you support them. That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's
that's-
just. It's
yeah.
hard. It's like, and the thing about Hollywood and all this is fame gets to you.
Very
It
much
does.
so, yeah.
So almost all of these people that are big shots are terrible people.
Yeah.
And so most of the people you don't find out about, and that's the thing about Bill Cosby and the guys in Hollywood, is every time we watch one of those videos, whether they've been accused or not, we're supporting something that is not right. And we do it every day. YouTube, Amazon, or Spotify, we just keep doing it, and yet we draw these moral lines where we're like, okay, not going to go here, but then over here we just like ignore it, and it's like a mess in ourselves too.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like we're being hypocrites with ourselves if we're being real serious here.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, and I'm okay with being a hypocrite.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, I think it gets to this point where it's like, I don't know, man. I'll say that I'm not in support of those things, and I'm not gonna go buy their albums or whatever or what have you. But I mean, I'll listen to like this song on Spotify. Like, it's not like they're making virtually any money off of streams anyway. But I don't know. It's like I do take a stand on a lot of stuff, but it's just a point where it's like, there's so much to get bogged down in to the point of like where you're just shutting yourself out of so much of everything. It's like, what do you really? Is it really worth it? Am I? I don't know, man. It's a lot to get.
It's weird to think that so you can love a song, but the person who made the song ruins it for you. Like if someone else made the song that you love, then like it'd be totally different.
Right. I've had that happen. Like, I've definitely felt like that listening to things or after something happening, seeing some. Like, I saw Baby Driver.
I was about to say Baby Driver.
Yeah, dude.
It's hard.
After the Kevin Spacey stuff, and like, I was like, you know, like it is hard, and it isn't it does change how you perceive the work, but I don't feel like it should make you not, because there's tons of other people, Ansel Elgort, all the, you know, amazing individuals who are not awful people and did not do awful things that deserve the support, you know, that helped make that art. So it's like, you know.
All right, I want to hear what Coffee Guy has to say, because you love music.
He's Zach now.
Oh, I didn't.
Well, I mean, I usually introduce myself as Coffee Guy, but I've come out of the coffee closet.
Yeah.
I think we all had a cup of tea today as the show has gone on.
Wow.
What specifically did you want to know? I'm sorry.
I mean,
like the whole separating, it's hard. I pretty much agree with Chandler where it's like, because I mean, I don't listen to that much music where the people behind it have done something awful, but yeah, it's one of those.
Genre.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, I pretty much agree with how you feel about it. You know, I wish maybe that I could be a little on some higher moral high ground sort of thing, but it's like, that's my jam, man.
Yeah,
like, come on. Like, are you serious right now?
It's really hard.
But like I said, that's the other thing, is there's a lot of other people involved with these work. Even when it comes to music, like tons of people produced it, and you know, just tons of people involved that did not do anything wrong, and maybe they should at least be supported. You know, whether there's one person, one bad apple shouldn't spoil the whole bunch. I feel like in a lot of situations.
For the Beatles, would you still listen to them knowing what, like, that John Lennon was like a terrible person?
I'm going to keep listening to them.
And is it I mean, for like you who like you do that, like, yeah, that's your viewpoint. Would supporting him like invalidate the song? Because there's like 3 other people that are like,
Yeah.
Not at all.
no,
Yeah.
Well, I feel like anyone who believes that the face that the personality is put on, you know, these celebrities, musicians, that's them as real people, that you're getting them at 100% reality, I feel like is naive. And so to expect that every single person who's doing all these things is a good person at their core is like, you know, I feel like it's a bit picturesque, you know, and maybe have a little more realistic expectation of in these people, you know.
we're gonna go to a break real quick. We'll be right back.
That's a very sour note.
And we're back.
Spit that firestorm.
all right, I'm gonna read 2 quick poems. The first one is The Universe. The universe is quite silly. Flying all over, no rhyme or reason, no need to flee, no need to simply be. Poetry is dumb. What if monkeys could fly? Pretty cool, I would say. Writers can't seem to understand how to write after 2000. Poetry is dumb since then.
Good job.
And then Fire and Ice. How would I like the world to end? Blow up. Easy answer. Ice would be cool too, though.
Are these going to be in the art showcase tomorrow at El-Tracy
Oh, yeah.
at 5?
I like that
Awesome.
last one.
Oh, yeah, I like that
I'm
too.
going to do a whole set of where I take, like, classical famous poems and just, like, dumb them down to 4 lines.
Ice would be cool too.
I should be.
All right, well,
Game of
Storm,
Thrones.
thanks for being on. Storm's got to run.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been
Thanks for
real.
coming by again.
Nice meeting you, man.
Nice to meet you too.
We will see you in October. You're back on the show again.
Now we'd like to briefly talk about the movie we saw.
We
this
saw a
weekend.
movie that's called A Quiet Place,
was
directed by
awesome.
John Krasinski of Office
Surprisingly
fame.
good.
Yeah,
Surprisingly good.
It was. If you're gonna go see a film, whether it be like if you have one movie in you at the theaters, you know, like if that's all you can handle for like a few months, go see this movie. Cash that ticket in for A Quiet Place, because it is just from a filmmaking perspective, from an audience perspective, just on entertainment value alone, like it's just so good. And I usually am not like that about movies that I see. I usually have a lot of nitpicks, and even when I like a film, I have things. But like, man, oh man,
I had
really
some
surprised
nitpicks.
me. I do have some nitpicks,
But it's mostly
definitely
just
not a lot.
personal taste stuff, like stuff that didn't just really jive with
Love you
me.
too.
Yeah, we're not gonna go too in depth because I think knowing
We don't want to spoil. Yeah, we don't want to
knowing,
spoil.
like even basic plot elements kind of ruins it. I
Yeah.
think if you haven't seen it yet.
But it is very quiet. No, I'm just kidding. Go on. No, you have
I
a
feel
joke.
like Pat always like he has a very specific, like he almost, I don't know, like the spoiler thing with Pat. I feel like he's a little too strict. Like I feel like if Star Wars just came out and I said Darth Vader's in a suit, he'd be like, too far.
Too far. It is
far.
too far. No, it is too far.
I feel like he gets that way.
I mean, for that, I really just don't like when I'm like expecting a scene in a movie.
Yeah. That's an
well, I
awful
mean,
feeling.
I understand that, but I mean, those weren't the sort of things I would have talked about if we would go into the movie in depth. I just mean like some basic character
also-
traits.
This is getting really meta.
I was also preferencing for the viewers, Zachary, because
Oh, is that actually your real name? Is that your real name?
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, no, my name is Zachary.
Oh, wow.
It's nice to meet you all.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's the third time that you
Yeah.
met us.
Yeah,
do you have another name you like to fall on after Zachary?
coffee guy.
We're going back full
Good job.
circle.
Yeah,
So yeah, Quiet Place. Go see it. John Krasinski's first film, directing.
So
and
impressed.
So great, dude. I can't wait to see what he's gonna do next. And
if
this
you
is a
don't
really
like
great
horror
debut.
movies, it's not a horror movie. It
not
was
a horror
marketed really weird. I describe it as like this decade's I Am Legend. That's the sort of tone it has.
Wait,
Except
who?
better.
Yeah, it's way better.
Me saying that has nothing to do with the quality. I think it's way better too.
I think it's really it's suspense.
It's that sort of tone though.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's like I Am Legend that they had a really bold kind of premise.
But there's no
and they followed
puppy.
through. I mean,
So
yeah.
what?
Where's
He
the
doesn't need a
puppy?
You're getting caught up in the fact that I said I Am Legend.
We talked
know.
about Sergeant Stubby.
We did.
Yeah.
There's your
Full
puppy.
Full circle. Here we are.
There's your puppy right there.
And
Stubby
that's a
in
wrap,
Quiet
folks.
Place.
That's it.
That's how it goes.
Do you want to say
Go on.
anything else?
I think that's all I can say in good conscience about.
I was gonna
Quiet
say
Place.
my favorite part is that
Uh-huh.
they had a really bold premise where it's like sound is bad, and I think they carry it through very well. And
They
thought
do.
out
And
a
then
lot
the
of little
ways that they would
things.
use sound, like specifically
Yeah.
in sound design, I really liked some of the
Yes.
beginning stuff. Like you learn things about certain characters by the way that they chose to use sound very early on. And if you've seen the film, I think you know what I'm talking about.
It's so clever, like things like that, and to convey so much with saying. So many films these days get bogged down in needless exposition and tons of dialogue to set the stage and explain things when they should just be showing them because it is a film, a visual art form. So to see a movie that's like the premise is you can't do that, go, you know. So it's so exciting. It was so exciting to see how they managed to have it all play out and convey everything they did
Like-
through so little talking.
They managed
stuff.
exposition better than most movies, and they couldn't
did.
talk.
They did. They really did. It was so clever. Please go see the movie.
I think that wraps it up pretty well.
I'm sold. I'll go see it.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome. Because you just said during the break, I'm not planning on seeing it.
Yeah. I did.
So. Nice. Awesome.
I don't really go to movies that often, so.
You should let us know what you think and see if
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
I
lied
will.
to you or not.
Yeah. Probably have podcast reviews.
All right, so we got to wrap up soon.
We do got to wrap up soon. Although, before we wrap up, I am really curious and I'd like to hear it. You said you used to have a show here at WXW.
I did.
What's up
I
with
did.
that?
About 3 years ago, I had a show on here. It was called Turn Up the Music. I was a DJ at the time. That's what I was doing to make money. And yeah, I was DJing on here. I was able to get a couple people to come in for interviews and have them do live mixes. I would split up the show I think I had 2 hours or so like the first hour I would mix and then the next hour I would have them mixing. So it was like a good play on word, or not a play on words, but a good play off each other. And yeah, it was. So the genre was mostly EDM, hip hop, pop stuff around that time because that's what was popular and just what was jumping off at that moment. So yeah.
Well, if you ever want that back, we don't want this gig. So
Can take our time slot for sure.
no, it's been a pleasure, dude. Thanks for coming
thanks for
on.
coming
Thank you.
Had a
Thank you,
great
guys.
time.
I had a lot
Had
of
a
fun.
blast. Good. We'd love to do some take pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take pictures of each
We
other
love
sometime.
all your pictures.
If you ever just want to hang out and stare at a camera.
Yeah, just like right now above us. That's a battery's about to die. We have no time. All right.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
Chandler, where can we find you?
YouTube Sly Elliott and
It's-
go subscribe to all of our stuff for the Poorly Led Podcast because we're rebranding soon. Got a lot planned coming up that you want to be in the know with. It's just so much, dude. I can't even talk about it.
Let's just leave it at that, just for time's sake.
Marcus, do you have any? Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me at MSDvisuals on Instagram. That's where you can find all my photography. And if you're interested in any of my video work, art, illustrations, or just my face, you can find me at MSD_visuals on Instagram, both of them. So yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.